In this lesson, we are going to see more in detail how Krita's interface is structured. If you already know programs like Photoshop or Illustrator, it will be very easy to learn how to use this software because, as you may have noticed, the tools and the interface are structured in a very similar way. Here you can see that the interface is structured in 4 main elements that we will see more in detail further on. But for now, we can see quickly, starting on the top left corner, we have the classic drop-down menu. Right underneath, we have some shortcuts. This vertical element here on the left is commonly called the toolbar. This other vertical element here on the right isn't accessible right now because to be able to access it, we need to have an open document. So we will see this more in detail shortly. And here at the center, we have this main element with here under Start, we have some shortcuts that we can also find under this drop-down menu, placed here for convenience because they are the shortcuts that we will be using every time when we open this program. Here we have New File, which is definitely one of the shortcuts that we will be using the most because it's the way that you will be able to open a new document and start a new project. Right underneath, we have Open File. This is very useful if you want to open a project or a document that you have already been working on and you have saved in your computer. Right underneath, we'll have Recent Documents. If you are opening this program for the first time, you won't have anything underneath. But if, for example, you have been already working on some projects, some illustrations, you will have the links to those projects directly in this box. In this section under Community, we have a lot of useful links, like, for example, the user manual where we can get information and guidelines on how to use this software. Right here we have the user community where clicking on it we can find this amazing community of Krita users that will give lots of support and guides and easy tips and tricks on how to use this software in the best way, and also get inspiration from those who have been using this program for a longer time. We also have a link here to support this software because, as you may know, or if you don't know, Krita is a fully open source program and it is completely free. So this is a great way to show this software some support. If we click on the user manual, we will be directed to their web page where here on the left you can choose in what language you want to read about them. And you can see right away that they also say that Krita is a free, open source, cross-platform application, that it is optimized for prolonged and focused use, which is very important. And also it is optimized for illustrations, concept art, matte painting, textures, comics, and animations. Also, if you continue scrolling this page, you will see that there are many tutorials, tips, examples of other Krita users, and this makes it very easy to learn the program by following these examples that we find here on this page. Getting back to the main interface, we will now see it more in detail. And we can start from the top left corner with our drop-down menu where we will find all of our tools and our functions of this software, all divided by theme. Clicking on File, for example, we will find everything that regards opening a new document, for example, opening a recent document that maybe we have worked on already and saved in our computer, as we also saw in this section here at the center. Here we also find all our saving processes, which are not accessible at the moment because, as I mentioned before, we do not have an open document. But as soon as we open a new document, all of these options will become accessible. We have our classic save, which will save the progress of our document. We have save as, and this is very important so that we can save our document in different formats, and this can be important for the end goal of our work. So if it's going to be for a digital project or for a printed project or even as a web project, this will be very important. And we can find these options also in our export Save as is also very, very useful. For example, if we want to keep a certain version of the document that we are working on and we want to make a new version of that, we can simply click Save As and change the name of our document, and that way we can keep both versions safe in our computer. Another very useful tool here is Save Incremental Version. This will save each step of your work. That way you never have to worry about losing a version of the project you were working on, and it will save on your computer very easily. Now that we are here in this drop-down menu, we can also see quickly how we can create and open a new document. So by clicking here on New, this window will open where we will have all of these different details that we can modify and personalize to have a workspace that is perfect for our needs. For example, we can modify the dimensions here in width and in height. We can also choose the orientation of our page, which will be either landscape or portrait version. We can also change the measurement unit, so we can go for pixels, or we can decide to use millimeters, centimeters, decimeters, inches, and so on, whichever system is more comfortable for us. We can also change the resolution, but for example, if this was meant for a print, so if we were working on a project that then would be printed, this resolution would actually be perfect. We can also choose the color method, which is also very important, depending on if you're working on a digital project or a project that then will be printed. So for example, here we have our RGB, which would be red, green, blue. We could also use CMYK, which stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, black, which in this case, this color method would be perfect for printing. Instead, the RGB would be perfect for a digital or web project. Here on the left, we can also find some pre-made document models. These are very useful for very specific types of project. For example, we could open these comic templates, and we will find that they have 4 different grid styles: European template, US style template, manga, and waffle iron grid. These are 4 different styles of comic templates. We can also see texture templates, for example, which are great models if we are trying to create a pattern or a texture, obviously. And we have all of these different grids here available for us. But these we will see much more in detail further on in the lessons. For now, we can continue creating our own custom document, clicking right up here. And we can directly open a new file. These measurements and these details for now will work for us, as we are only opening an example document so that we can see what we can do once it's open. So we can click here on Create. And now you will see that our program has opened up a white page that follows the measurements, details, resolution that we have decided in the window that was open previously. And we can now notice right away that the vertical element that before wasn't accessible has now become accessible and ready to be used. But for now, let's continue seeing our drop-down menu up here on the top left corner. If we go under Edit, for example, we will find all the different types of edits that we can do to the project that we're working on. For example, we can undo or redo anything that we have just done on this page. If we drew a line, a circle, anything, we can decide to undo or redo it very easily. And we will see here on the right that there are also some keyboard shortcuts that will even make this easier, but we will see these in detail in the following lessons. Under this drop-down menu, we can also see cut and copy, which are also very used and very useful. Along with this, paste is a very used and very useful tool, which we will see better later on. And we can also see under this following drop-down menu view. Here we have everything regarding the visual part of our canvas, what we want to see and not see on it. If we only want to view the canvas, for example, by clicking on this, we will only view the canvas now and everything else has disappeared. And by clicking on Tab, we can go back. Here we are back. If we continue seeing under our View drop-down menu, we can also see that we can view rulers on our canvas. We can see the status bar, the pixel grid, and so on. All of these will be very useful to learn properly further on as well. Under the image drop-down menu, we will find all of the properties and details that have to do with the image that we are working on, and we can do some edits like rotating the image. Under layer, we will find all of the actions and edits that we can do to our layers, but those are also a very, very important aspect of this software, which we will need to see more in detail further on in the lessons. Select also has to do with everything that we will be able to do when we select an element, and this will be a very interesting menu to see further on when we study all of our selection tools. Under filter, we can see all different edits and actions that we can do to our image or to our project more in an aesthetic way, like blurring, enhancing, and so forth. Under tools, we will find script, which has everything to do with how we want to modify and personalize, for example, our workspace. And we will be seeing this in the lesson right after this one. And under settings, very similar, we can also change the aesthetic and the view of our workspace, of our interface. For example, with themes, we can choose different types of themes like dark or light, and so on. And we will be seeing this in the following lesson. Under the help drop-down menu, we will find all of our information on the software and also the link to their website, their handbook, which is also links that we found in the main page once we opened our software at the start. Right below our drop-down menu, as we mentioned before, we have these great shortcuts, like create a new document, for example. These are all shortcuts that are used the most when we are working on this program, but we will see further on that these can be modified and we can choose which shortcuts we want in this area. But for now, we have create a new document, we have save, we have paste clipboard content, and we also have undo and redo, as we saw in the edit drop-down menu. Right next to this, we have all that matters, our painting section, our painting tools, the opacity of the color that we choose, the type of brush settings, how we want the blending mode to be, again, opacity and the size of our brush. And we will see all of this more in detail in the following lessons when we actually start talking about all the different types of brushes that we have. And if we go to our vertical element here on the left, which is also called a toolbar, we will find all of the tools that we will need to create our illustration or painting or comic or whatever it is that we desire to create on this program. We have our freehand brush tool, which is the most commonly used on this software, and we will see that soon. We have our line tool. We have a tool that allows us to write a script or a text. We have a color picking tool. We have a crop tool. There are many tools here, and they will all be very, very useful once we actually start working on our own project. This is a tool that you use, for example, for selecting shapes or objects. A rectangle tool. We have a dynamic brush tool, which is very interesting, a multi-brush tool, and this one, which can easily be confused with our arrow here on top, but it's actually this tool that we need to click on if we want to move any object. And below here, we have all of our selection tools, which I mentioned very briefly when we saw the select drop-down menu. And if we move here to the right, we will have this main element for selecting our color. And we can see here, for example, how we can select colors on this, inside this triangle, and also on this circle. So if we were to select a random color right now, let's choose this purpley magenta. We will make an example and we can choose a brush tool. Remember always that when you choose a brush tool, make sure that you have the brush tool selected here on the left as well. Otherwise, you won't be able to draw on your canvas. So let's choose a size, and the opacity is okay at 100%, and let's just make a random line. Now that we have created this line, you will be able to see here next to our color selector tool that the color that we have chosen has appeared here in this little box. And this is a great function because it creates a timeline of the recent colors that we have been using while drawing, which makes it very easy to remember and save colors while we're working on a project. Right below this, we have our layer section. This is a very, very important section for working on digital illustration programs such as Krita or Illustrator, for example. It is a very important function as it helps us divide our work up in layers, so on different pages or on different canvases. And this is very helpful for not losing anything or for not ruining something that we have been working on for a while. And you will see this further on when you start working on this program more, how helpful this section really is. Right below that, we have all of our brush tools. We have pencils, we have erasers, we have paint brushes, also spray paint, we have patterns, and so on. All of these would be very interesting to see further on in these lessons. And what's very important to know about this software is that it uses vector and raster graphics. The main difference between vector and raster graphics is that raster graphics are images composed of numerous small squares that are called pixels. We can see this if we zoom in on the line that we have just created. The more we zoom, the more we notice these many, many little squares that are called pixels that compose our line. In this case, it is very important to note that our resolution will be affected when we are using a raster graphic. Seeing that it is formed by many different pixels, the resolution or the quality of the image that we will be creating will change based on how much we zoom in or out on the image. The more we zoom in, the more quality we will lose on our image, and the more we zoom out, the more we will have a high quality line or illustration that we are creating. We will notice that by zooming in on our line, we will end up with this grainy effect, which, as I said before, is caused by the view of all of these little pixels or squares. Vector graphics, instead, are composed by points, curves, and fills, which are stored as mathematical values. This means that vector graphics aren't affected by resolution. So as much as you zoom in or zoom out, once you have exported and saved your file, the quality of the image or the illustration that you have created won't be changed. We can make an example here by creating a new layer specifically to create a vector line or image. We can do this by clicking on the plus button here, but going to the arrow next to it and choosing Add Vector Layer. In this layer, for example, we can use a line, maybe change the size, and by creating this line, it will result, as you can see, more clear and higher quality than this curve that we created previously. Krita is primarily a raster graphics editing tool, but it also has some vector editing tools in it. This makes vector graphics great, for example, for logos or banners where the resolution and the quality matters a lot. But raster graphics are way easier to edit. So that makes raster graphics a better decision when your goal is to create a digital painting, a digital artwork. We will continue seeing the differences between raster graphics and vector graphics further on in the lessons and how each can be used in specific ways and which ones will be better based on the type of projects that we will be creating. For now, we can end this lesson here. If you have liked this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions or suggestions, make sure to leave them in the comment box. You can also check out other courses that we have in our channel, and if you would like to give us a little support, you can subscribe to the channel. Thank you. We'll see each other in the next lesson.